Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. And before I start the review, I want to take the time and have a moment of silence. Since today is September 11th, it's hard to believe it's been 16 years since the attacks on the Twin Towers. I remember that day very, very good. So it was just a horrible, tragic day that I will never forget. So I want to take the time and have a moment of silence for the people who and the families and the firefighters who lost people in that tragedy 16 years ago. So let's have a little moment of silence for them. So. Okay, and also before I start the review, for any of you who are watching down there from Florida, or anybody who's in the path of Hurricane Irma, my thoughts and prayers are with you all. The storm down there was horrible. I've been watching the news. I saw the news this past week of how the hurricane looked down there in Florida, and it was just it was crazy seeing those images on TV of how the storm did a lot of damage down there. And thoughts and prayers are with everybody down there in Florida. Hope they could rebuild. It's going to take a couple of years for them to to rebuild and go back to how living down there, because that storm did a lot of damage down there. So, but my thoughts and prayers are with everybody down there in Florida, and whoever is in the path of Hurricane Irma, in Georgia, in South Carolina, and around there, because now the storm is a tropical storm, and then it's going to head up and it's going to weaken into a tropical depression. So thoughts and prayers are with everybody down there in Florida and who's in the path of Irma. So yeah. So anyways, on to the Raw review. I thought tonight's Raw. I thought this Raw sucked. There's nothing that really enjoyed, except maybe for Miz's promo and the Miz TV and the Roman Reigns Jason Jordan match, which was surprisingly good. And pretty much that's what basically the show opened. The show opened with Roman Reigns versus Jason Jordan. And like I said, this was a good match. This was probably match of the night in my opinion. I thought Jason Jordan was awesome in the match. I thought he did a good job in this match. Roman, as much as I'm not a fan of his, I gotta surprisingly say he was pretty decent in the match. I really enjoyed how Jason Jordan hit that suplex on Roman, which that was cool to see. But in the end, Jason Jordan lost the match. Roman Reigns won the match, of course, with his Superman punch and then spear to end the match. So, and then like during the match, we saw Cena watching it from backstage. So yeah, and I know from what I heard, the reason why they keep making Jason Jordan lose is for them to set up his heel turn, because there's talks going on that they want to turn Jason Jordan heel, and I think that will probably be good. I enjoy Jason Jordan. I think he's very he's very good in the ring, good athlete. So, but yeah, I would like to see what they do with Jason Jordan. If they turn him heel, which that's probably going to be coming. So, but yeah. So all in all, it was a good match. Probably the match of the night, in my opinion. And then after that, we had another, as I would call it, Battle of the Promos. In this corner, we got Roman Reigns. In that corner, John Cena. And so, Cena comes out, says to Roman that, Jason Jordan almost beat him. Roman says to Cena that, he was given a good match and that he had only two good matches in a year, that Roman had two good matches in a year than Cena ever had. And then Cena says, Roman is just burying himself and he's got his head so far up his ass like a centipede. That was really funny. Cena then says that if Roman is the guy he needs, if Roman is the guy, he needs to dust himself off. And at No Mercy, it's going to be a catwalk. Or cakewalk, what he said. Then Roman says that, WWE can make it without Cena. And that Cena needs WWE because he can't break it to Hollywood. And then he starts referencing, his cousin The Rock, saying that, oh, I know somebody in Hollywood. Basically, he was talking about, The Rock, who's his cousin. So, and then Cena says at No Mercy, Roman's not going to get past him. Basically, Cena's saying that, Roman is a failure. So, but I thought this promo between Cena and Roman was not as good as last week's or the week after. I have to say it was the weakest. It's just when Cena's on the mic, it makes in this, it makes Roman look pretty much like a failure on the mic. So, but this promo, like I said, wasn't as good as previous weeks. So then we had the next match, which was Sasha Banks versus Emma. This match, it was boring. Did not care for it. Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax was on commentary during the match. Sasha Banks wins the match with the bank statement. What more can I say about more else can I say about this match? It was. And then after that, we have Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming out. It's a very special happy birthday to Paul Heyman because today is his birthday, which that's really awesome. Heyman says that at No Mercy, Lesnar will take on Braun Strowman for the Universal title. He ends up going to say Braun is the baddest dude on the planet than Lesnar, and that he has to rip that Braun has to rip the title away from Lesnar at No Mercy, and he says it reminds him of Lesnar when Lesnar was competing in 2002. He was conquering the greats like Rock, Hogan, Undertaker, and Rob Van Dam. And Heyman also says to Lesnar that, is he ready for, this match? And he says to Braun, is he ready to fight? And Braun ends up coming out, and him and Lesnar brawl, which it was a really awesome brawl. And we saw Lesnar suplex Braun, and Braun got back up really fast, and then the shock look on Lesnar's face, looked like, he's like, what the hell? What the fuck? And then Braun actually hits Lesnar with the running power slam. And that's when we see Strowman hold up the Universal title. That whole brawl made up for, this made up the whole segment. It was just an awesome, little brawl between Lesnar and Strowman. Gotta say, actually looking forward to this match. Braun Strowman, without a doubt, gets my pick as Superstar of the Year. He's just had really good matches this year. So, but it was a good segment. That whole brawl made the segment, really really good in my opinion. Then we get after that Bray Wyatt versus Goldust. This match was didn't care for it. It was just Bray Wyatt before the match says to Goldust, he's been watching him, and that Goldust is afraid to take off the paint on his face, and Bray says, he shows what's underneath that whole, painted face, and that he goes on to say Goldust is like Finn Balor, that it's pretty much a weapon to protect them from the truth, with painted face. It's just Bray Wyatt promos that that you don't care for. That doesn't make any sense in my opinion. But this match didn't care for it. Bray Wyatt got the win with the Sister Abigail on Goldust. Then you had after the match Bray Wyatt, he takes a cloth, wipes off all of Goldust's makeup. Finn Balor ends up coming out, and then Bray Wyatt retreats out of the ring, wanting nothing to do with Finn. So, but all in all, it was meh match. Didn't care for it. Then after that, we had Cesaro and Sheamus being interviewed. Cesaro and Sheamus say they are going to beat Gallows and Anderson tonight, and they say at No Mercy they're going to lower the bar on Rollins and Ambrose, and take back the tag team titles. Then it was supposed to be Cesaro and Sheamus versus Gallows and Anderson. We had Ambrose and Rollins on commentary, and then Cesaro and Sheamus come out. They come to Seth and Dean, and they just start brawling. Cesaro, Sheamus, Seth and Dean, they just start brawling. Gallows and Anderson come up and get involved, and then both Gallows and Anderson end up brawling with Cesaro and Sheamus. So the match really never got underway. When Raw came back from commercial, we saw Kurt say to Dean and Seth to find themselves 2 tag team partners, and they will have a match with Cesaro, Sheamus, Gallows and Anderson tonight. I wonder who they choose. Obviously, it's going to be the Hardy Boys. So then we had a little promo saying that Asuka is going to be coming up to Raw. Is going to be coming soon to Raw, and Asuka, best NXT Women's Champion down there, longest reigning NXT Women's Champion. Really like Asuka. Think she's awesome in the ring. She's a great superstar. But to me, Asuka, my opinion, she's on the wrong show. Basically, I wanted her to go SmackDown because SmackDown uses their women's division a whole lot. They use pretty much, everyone on the women's division. They use Natalya. They use Becky Lynch. They use Carmella. They use their women's division. And they have such a small women's division that it should be built, a lot more. That's why I would have preferred Asuka to go to SmackDown. To have more, gain in the women's division. And to me, Asuka, like I said, she's on the wrong show. Then after the promo was over, we saw Alexa and Nia in the locker room. Alexa says, Asuka is another one coming for, the Raw women's title. Nia says to Alexa that, they are not, best friends. And Alexa apologizes to Nia. Alexa's like, oh, with my apology, can we go back to being best friends? And then Nia says maybe they could go back to being, best friends. And Nia ends up telling Alexa that, you're not going to like what I'm going to say to you. And Nia ends up telling Alexa that they're going to have a match next week. So next week it's going to be Nia versus Alexa. So it's not going to be for the women's title though. So. And then after that, we had Elias versus Kalisto. Before the match, Elias was boring us with his singing, as always. Talking shit about, the Anaheim, because tonight's Raw was in Anaheim, California. Pretty much just starts shit talking about Anaheim. Then out comes Kalisto. Kalisto jobs to Elias. Pretty much Elias wins the match with the drift away. What else can I say? It was a shit match. So, and then after that, we had John Cena versus Braun Strowman. This match should have been the main event, in my opinion. Should have been the main event. Pretty much this match was just basically Cena getting his ass manhandled to Strowman. Strowman just starts taking out Cena all through the match. There was points where Cena tried to get back at Strowman, tried to do the AA. He tried to lift Strowman and do the AA, but failed. You had, Cena doing the "You Can't See Me," and he's bouncing off the ropes, and then Strowman just ends up getting up, just crazy. Then Strowman ends up taking the steps and hitting Cena with it, hitting Cena with the steps, takes it in the ring, and the match ends in disqualification because Strowman hits a power slam on Cena, on the steps. So Cena ends up winning the match via disqualification. So all in all, the match was meh, another meh kind of match. Then after that, we saw Seth and Dean trying to find tag team partners. And of course, they run into the Hardys. Wow, I saw that coming. And Seth and Dean end up asking them, what are they doing tonight? Pretty much, the Hardys right there are going to be tag teaming with Seth and Dean. And then, after that, it was Miz TV. Miz, Maurice, Curtis, and Bo end up coming out. Miz says that him and Maurice have an announcement. And Maurice ends up saying that her and Miz are gonna have having a baby, which that's really cool. The crowd was, chanting for them, and that's really cool. I don't even know if it's part of a storyline or if this is official. Probably it has to be official though. But congrats to Miz and Maurice on the baby. And Miz prepares a speech about fatherhood, and he's reading it. He then gets interrupted by Enzo, who Enzo is his guest on Miz TV tonight. Miz says, Miz is not happy about Enzo cutting him off, about his speech, and pretty much Miz just starts, these promos are pretty much basically what's happening, backstage, what's going on, because Miz ends up, talking shit about Enzo. He references all the drama that is going on backstage with Enzo, saying, oh, you don't have Big Cass anymore. Says that Miz says to Enzo that nobody on the Raw roster can't stand him, and that he's hanging out with third-rate rappers. Pretty much, there's basically a lot of backstage heat going on with Enzo, and so they're just, Miz just starts, cutting a promo on Enzo about, what's really going on backstage with Enzo. Enzo goes on to say that Miz copies everybody, uses moves, like Ric Flair's figure 4, and pretty much basically other moves that Miz copies. And he says to Miz that he's going on to No Mercy to win the Cruiserweight title and beat Neville, and that he wants a match with Miz, and he calls Miz a paper champion, and that Enzo really wants to fight Miz. And so pretty much after Miz TV ends, which I gotta say, the Miz cutting that promo on Enzo was a really good promo. Basically, all the stuff that's happening backstage with Enzo. Miz is really saying the truth about Enzo, which it was a really good promo that Miz cut. It was cool to see. And then after that, it was the match. It was Enzo versus the Miz. Pretty much another boring match that I didn't care for. It was just Enzo getting on the mic and saying, "Oh, your moves are going downhill. It's going straight to DVD." And then Miz just starts beating the hell out of Enzo. So it was pretty much a nothing match. You had Enzo saying to Maurice, "Oh, who's the father of the baby?" And then pretty much basically Miz just starts beating the hell out of Enzo more. The match ends in a disqualification because Curtis and Bo end up attacking Miz. And then after the match, Miz hits the skull crushing finale on Enzo, just laying him out. Pretty much boring match. This match to me was just a match to kill the time. Sorry about that, but I was saying, this match was just, in order to kill time, because it was 10:40 when this match, was ended. So all in all, it was a boring match. Then when Raw came back from commercial, we saw Enzo backstage. Neville approaches him, and Neville just stands there laughing at Enzo because he got his ass whooped by Miz. So then after that, it was the main event. It was Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, of course, the tag team partners, the Hardy Boys versus Cesaro, Sheamus, Luke Gallows, and Karl Anderson. This was a decent main event. It was very entertaining. Back and forth between all of them. You had, at one point, pretty much a botch in the match where the ref stopped the count because I guess Matt Hardy was supposed to break up the count, but he came in too late. So, and you had almost Cesaro. They were going for the white noise. Cesaro almost lost his balance, but thankfully he got off and did the move properly. But at the end of the match, you had Cesaro and Sheamus walking out, and it basically gave Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and the Hardys the win, with Rollins hitting the knee to Anderson and Ambrose hitting the dirty deeds to Anderson to score the win for him, Ambrose, and for him, Rollins, and the Hardys. So all in all, it was a decent main event. It was entertaining, in my opinion. So yeah. So anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. Thank you all for watching, and I gotta say, SmackDown tomorrow is gonna be, in my opinion, the better show because it's Sin City SmackDown. We have Natalya versus Naomi for the SmackDown Women's title. We have Ty Dillinger versus AJ Styles, the U.S. Open Challenge for the U.S. title. We got Vince making an appearance tomorrow. New Day versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. It's going to be an awesome show tomorrow. It's going to be hopefully a good show, which they were hyping it up last week. So I think SmackDown is going to be the much better show tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, so anyways, thank you all for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. comment, subscribe. And until my SmackDown review tomorrow night, I'll see you all back here tomorrow night. Bye.